Thrawn, the infamous Grand Admiral, was a blue-skinned alien born in the Chiss Ascendancy, located in the unknown regions. In the early days of the Empire, Thrawn joined the Imperial Academy and rose to the rank of Grand Admiral and fought beside Darth Vader and Lord Sidious. He was ruthless, an elite strategist, and Sidious considered him indispensable to the Empire. But what if Thrawn joined the Republic? Before we begin, a special thanks to the voice actors, Ray Jericho, the Shapeshifter, and Nick Cortez. All their links will be in the description, so go check them out. The Chiss Ascendancy controlled a region of space in the unknown regions for thousands of years, far from the Republic. There were many planets in this system, ruled collectively by the 9 royal families known as Aristocrat. The Chiss pride themselves on cold logic. Peacekeeping and avoiding conflict is their main goal. They would avoid aggression and preemptive strikes, only attacking an enemy once they had entered Ascendancy space and saw this as a declaration of war. The Chiss went thousands of years without conflict until the years leading to the Galactic Empire. Around 22 BBY, right before the beginning of the Clone War, Thrawn was a captain in the Chiss Ascendancy and was known for his cunningness, use of logic, and ultimately one of the best strategists their military had. However, a threat to the Chiss began revealing themselves slowly, the Grisk, and Thrawn was specifically worried about them. They had begun their plot to destroy the Chiss Ascendancy and began their plan to move closer to Chiss space, taking advantage of their peacekeeping ways, and would surround their territory, taking one planet at a time. Only the Chiss Aristocrat knew of this looming threat and began non-aggressive countermeasures. They could not attack since the Grisk had not entered their space. They sent their most prestigious captain, Thrawn, known by the Chiss as Mithril Narodo, to search the rest of the galaxy for allies against the Grisk. He was tasked to find out everything he could about the other powerful forces in the galaxy and whether or not they would be able to help them in the upcoming war. Thrawn took this mission gracefully and would spend as long as it takes to complete it. He begins his secret mission and leaves Ascendancy space. He travels for days without anything until he spots a ship in the distance. He can't help but notice the advanced hyperdrive ring that is far beyond what Chiss scientists have achieved. Unknown to Thrawn, he had stumbled upon the ship of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, who were returning from the border dispute on Ancient. He contacts their ship, tells him he's a traveler lost in space and requires help. Obi-Wan and Anakin's Jedi nature kicks in, and they feel obligated to help him. They reveal they are Jedi to the unknown traveler, so that he can trust them. Thrawn cannot believe his luck. He's only heard rumors, stories about the Jedi, and has been eager to meet them. The Chiss have their own Force sensitives, but they're very different to the Jedi. They don't seem to maintain their ability to use the Force past adulthood, and many speculate it's because they are located in the unknown regions. He reveals to the Jedi he's a representative of his people from a distant world, and their people want to establish a relationship with the rest of the galaxy. Anakin poses the idea that they take him straight to Chancellor Palpatine, who would be interested in connecting the Republic to unknown worlds. This is only possible due to Anakin's friendship with the Chancellor. They take Thrawn back with them to Coruscant, and together they meet in Palpatine's office. Thrawn was tasked by the Aristocrat of the Ascendancy to find them allies, but first he had to determine whether the Republic was suitable to help them, and the best way to do this was to ascertain the strength of their leaders.
Captain Thrawn, this is Chancellor Palpatine, the leader of the Republic.
It is a great honor to meet you, Chancellor. Your reputation precedes you.
You're too kind. Anakin tells me you are from a distant world, not known to the Republic.
But Palpatine recognizes the blue skin of a Chiss. The Sith of old wrote about how Chiss military officers joined their ranks and were amongst the best. Maybe Palpatine could use this Thrawn. This meeting takes place before the Battle of Geonosis. War was looming, and the Separatist crisis was almost at its peak. Palpatine didn't have much time on his hands. He asks Thrawn if they could meet in a few days' time to discuss matters further.
Of course, Chancellor. Thank you most kindly for taking the time to greet me.
A few days go by, and they might have been the most important in the galaxy. We know how this goes. Anakin was assigned to Padme and Obi-Wan to find her assassin. The clone army is discovered on Kamino, and Kenobi tracks Jango Fett back to Geonosis. Anakin and Padme fall in love and get married, but only after the Clone War begins between the Republic and Separatists. Palpatine and Thrawn have their meeting days later.
I wish to more fully understand this conflict which you are embroiled in. The origins and driving force of the Clone War are still somewhat opaque to me.
The Separatists are led by Count Dooku, who was once a Jedi Master. He began the Separatist movement, and the worlds began seceding from the Republic.
Yes, but what is driving this secession?
Palpatine looks at the Chiss, who is eagerly staring upon the Chancellor with his red eyes. The red eyes of Chiss see through the infrared wavelength and can spot the heat changes on a person's face and use this to determine whether someone is lying. He was using this on Palpatine to try and indulge his intentions, but he didn't waver.
I want to make a good impression on you, Thrawn, but the Republic isn't perfect. There is corruption in the Senate, and I have sworn to correct it. But some worlds are fed up. No matter, let's forget that. What is it you and your people hope to achieve?
I have been formally tasked to venture into the unknown to determine the strength of the rest of the galaxy. Not to worry. My people are peaceful. We do not engage in aggressive activities unless forced to. My superiors think it is time we connect with a wider galaxy. But first, they need to know whether it is worth it.
I see. Well, I'm afraid you came at a poor time. War has just begun.
Palpatine says with a gloomy look on his face.
No matter. I think the Republic has potential. You say it stood for 1,000 years. I doubt it will fall now, but I shall help you in this war. As a token of the Chiss kindness, I ask permission to join the Republic Navy and aid the Republic in the Clone War.
Palpatine looks at the Chiss stunned, but understands what he means. If he goes back to his people now, whilst the galaxy is at war, their people will never connect to the wider galaxy, so personally wants to help restore order to the Republic so this connection can happen.
I understand your motives. I thank you for your help, Thrawn.
Thrawn spent a few months in the Republic Navy Academy and graduated top of his class. He uses this time to learn more about the Republic. Thrawn went through the training with ease as he was already a captain on his home world. He is seen by his superiors as an officer with extremely high potential, and they recommend him to be promoted instantly to captain after he graduates. As a captain, he still didn't have control of his own fleet, but was assigned to Admiral Yularen, who served under General Skywalker. It seems his relationship with Anakin has come full circle.
It is good to meet you, Captain. I've heard good things about you.
You are most kind, Admiral. Now, where is our next mission?
We head off right away to Christophsis to aid Senator Bail Organa.
They arrive out of hyperspace to see Separatist ships guarding the entrance to the planet. They've been sent to rescue Bail Organa, who's out of supplies, and they're about to be attacked by the Separatist forces. Anakin, Yularen, and Thrawn stare out of the bridge of the ship. Their forces are outnumbered and outmatched by Admiral Trench, a known ruthless Separatist leader and strategist who barely loses a battle. No Jedi or Admiral has been a match for him, yet. Anakin, the gung-ho Jedi, wants to engage his forces head-on, even though they're outnumbered. They begin, but this doesn't end well. Many of their ships have been hit and show signs of damage.
General, please, let's turn back.
I can't do that, Admiral. We must take out Trench here.
But Trench's command ship began heading straight towards them, and they're almost in range. In only a few minutes, he'll fire upon them, and they'll be destroyed.
If I may, I do have a plan of action.
Yularen and Anakin turn towards Thrawn.
It is evident we are outnumbered and weakened, but perhaps we can use this to our advantage. I propose we retreat for now, but in this inaction, we lure Trench into following us.
He'll never leave his position. He won't risk it.
Not unless we were sufficiently damaged enough that he thought he could wipe us out completely. We must give Trench the illusion that we are almost defeated. To do this, we turn off our side and rear shields, the ion cannons, the navigation system, and one of the 3 engines on all of our ships. He will no doubt follow us then, unable to control his eagerness to wipe us out. In about 7 minutes, Kenobi and his forces will come out of hyperspace, around our position, and then we will restore power back and finally overpower Trench's forces.
Anakin and Yularen look at each other.
That might actually work.
They begin implementing the plan. They successfully fool Trench, and he moves his forces towards them, away from the planet. Kenobi comes out of hyperspace, and they power up their ships and fire upon the Separatists, destroying their ships one by one, leaving the Admiral Trench for last as they wipe out his fleet. They aid Bail Organa on the surface and sign a treaty with Christophsis. While they're doing this, Ahsoka Tano arrives on the planet and explains how she's been assigned to Anakin Skywalker by Yoda himself. Anakin couldn't believe it, and Obi-Wan found it very amusing, but that would be the beginning of their relationship. They discussed the victory together.
I didn't know you had such a keen mind, Captain.
I have always been accustomed to the art of war. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. If you know yourself, but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you will also suffer a defeat. If you know neither the enemy nor yourself, you will succumb in every battle. All warfare is based on deception. This was Trench's fault. He didn't know nor understand me, and it cost him his life.
Right. Nevertheless, we wouldn't have succeeded without you, Captain.
Says Obi-Wan. Scenarios like this continue to happen for the next year. Thrawn's knowledge of battle, tactical brilliance, and strategist mind, together with Anakin and Yularen, they won countless battles for the Republic. He and Skywalker were like peas in a pod. Their style of battle worked well together. Thrawn usually had trouble making friends and connecting with people, but he truly considered Anakin a friend and enjoyed their time together. They relied on each other in battle and trusted each other with their lives. Anakin considered Thrawn a good friend and owed him for saving his life many times over. However, a year and a half into the Clone War, Thrawn was promoted from captain to admiral and appointed his own fleet. He had the highest record out of any captain in the Republic Navy, so this promotion was inevitable. He and Anakin say their farewells, but know they will meet again. His promotion saw him joining ranks with Jedi Pong Krell, a basilisk who was also a keen strategist. His resume contained many key victories, marking Krell as one of the most successful generals in the Republic military. However, Thrawn and Krell clashed on many issues, not agreeing on strategy a lot of the time. Krell saw the clones as 100% expendable and wasn't afraid to send thousands to their deaths in order to complete his task, whereas Thrawn appreciated a much more thought out and cunning plan. However, Krell was the general and Thrawn the admiral, but he hated Krell.
I am learning more and more about the Jedi and the Force every day. Many Jedi refuse to engage in combat and meditate all day. On the other hand, there are others like Krell who seem to enjoy combat and thrive in it. How this hasn't led to a schism or a conflict is beyond me. Or maybe it already has.
We get to the Umbara campaign, led by Krell and Thrawn. Umbara was a separatist world that the Republic sought to take. Thrawn had come up with a plan to complete their mission, and sent the clones on their way. He thought this plan would be easy, and devised a strategy to easily take the world. He stays in one of the command towers, and connects to the comm system to lead the mission. However, the mission began to go sour. He could see on his screen that the clones began dying in high numbers. He called out to them and explained their orders, only for them to be shot seconds later. This should not be happening. His plan was flawless. Did the enemy have something he didn't know about? No, that's impossible. He'd factored everything into his plan. Something unpredictable has happened.
Master Krell, report.
He contacts Krell, who is in the other tower, but he doesn't respond. The clones have stopped firing, and after many casualties, head back towards Thrawn's command station.
Troopers, what happened?
The leader explains how the two separate squads were given orders to kill the enemy who were disguised in clone trooper armor, resulting in them firing and killing each other.
Who gave you these orders?
Master Krell, sir. He said it was part of a secret mission to keep it from you.
It all clicks in Thrawn's mind. Krell's plan undermined his own. But Krell is a Jedi. What could he gain from letting the clones kill each other? He thinks about this for a moment. Does he still have more to learn about the Jedi? He looks into the opposing tower and sees Krell's heat signature through the wall using his red chiss eyes. His huge stature and forearms radiating heat as he meditates in an empty room. Krell has committed treason and under Republic law is to be arrested and tried in court. But Thrawn will have to capture him first. Finally, Thrawn will get to test his skills against a Jedi, something he's been waiting for. He explains his plan to the troopers, and together they head to the tower.
In the name of the Republic, you are under arrest, General Krell.
It's treason then.
On your knees.
Explain your actions, Krell.
But before he says anything, he pushes everyone back with the Force and rushes for the window. Krell ignites his saber to jump out of the window and escapes. However, Thrawn knew he would, and his capture depended on it. They chase right after him as he ruthlessly kills his clones. Thrawn is cunning. He expected Krell to escape, and he's right where they need him. He may be a Jedi, but Umbara is a dark planet, and the clones are specialized in nighttime combat. Thrawn and his men begin their hunt for the Jedi, who continues to run away. Krell thought he'd set a trap for Thrawn and his men, but he was dancing in the Chiss's palm. They catch up to Krell and begin firing, but Krell continues to stab and kill the clones. However, everything is going according to Thrawn's plan. He had the clones focus their numbers on the northeast side to push Krell towards the southeast, right where Thrawn wants him. They have only one shot at capturing the Jedi, and if they fail, they will all die. But Thrawn couldn't fail. He wraps around to the southeast and begins taunting the Jedi, who ignores the other clones and rushes towards Thrawn. He was blinded by his hatred for the Admiral, whom he quarreled with many times. He focuses solely on Thrawn and ignores his surroundings. If he kills Thrawn, he'll be able to escape successfully. One step before he reaches Thrawn, he steps on a native animal of Umbara with large tentacles that grabs a hold of Krell and begins swinging him around and crashing him into the ground. Thrawn uses this opportunity to stun the Jedi, and they take him back to base.
You are a Jedi Master, General Krell. It is not in your nature to commit such acts. Please, explain yourself.
A Jedi? I am no longer naive enough to be a Jedi. A new power is rising. I've foreseen it. The Jedi are going to lose this war, and the Republic will be ripped apart from the inside. In its place is going to rise a new order, and I will rule as part of it.
This was specifically intriguing to Thrawn. If what Krell says is true, this will mess up his plans of using the Republic to aid the Ascendancy. He must find out more.
Interesting theory. A new order, you say? So not the Separatists? Then who? I don't recognize any other significant power in the galaxy. So are you saying they're working in the shadows?
By the way Krell's face moved, Thrawn knew he was right.
So, I am right. But this force couldn't appear out of thin air. They must have been scheming for a while. To take power, one must convince the masses they deserve it. Let me know if I am getting warmer here, Master Krell. But you have foreseen this new threat rise at the end of the Clone War, using the conflict and this war as a distraction to steal power and authority for themselves. No, maybe they're even the driver of this war.
Krell laughed at Thrawn. He was amazed by his level of deduction, as he guessed correctly. This new information was pivotal to what Thrawn did in the future. He was not foolish enough to ignore the visions of a Jedi. He's seen the Force and its power many times firsthand. His visions are most likely correct. He thinks to himself,
But what do I do? Do I wait for the new entity to claim power and ascertain whether they will help the Chiss? That is too risky of a bet. The only option is to ensure the Republic wins this war and stop this shadow figure from ever taking control.
Thrawn had deduced one thing. There is an external force driving the war, one he could not see, for now. Thrawn brings Krell back to Coruscant and is congratulated by many Jedi and senators upon his arrival. His friend, Anakin Skywalker and Padawan Ahsoka Tano were standing with Senator Padme Amidala of Naboo. Thrawn introduced himself to the senator and together they discussed their arrest. Thrawn notices the relationship between the senator and Anakin.
Have you two known each other for a while?
No, yes, we've been friends for years.
Thrawn can tell Anakin is lying using his eyes. He's seen friends, and these two are far from it. He also notes the way Ahsoka turns away when he asks, subconsciously showing she has come to the same conclusion herself. This could be useful later. Let's fast forward to the last days of the war. The Supreme Chancellor has been captured and brought on board of the Invisible Hand above Coruscant, and Thrawn's fleet front the defense of the capital. Obi-Wan and Anakin go to find the Chancellor, while Thrawn attacks the Separatist forces. Ultimately, the Chancellor is saved. Anakin kills Count Dooku, but Grievous escapes. Thrawn has learned a lot during his time in the Republic. He understands the nature of the galaxy quite well, but he hasn't fully grasped the driving force of the Clone War. He feels and knows an integral piece is missing. He brings up his concerns with Master Kenobi on Coruscant.
Master Jedi, may I ask you a question?
Of course, Admiral. What is it?
My mind has been stumbled by a problem for a while now. I understand the Separatist crisis quite well, but I cannot help but think there is more to it. I understand Dooku was the leader of the Separatists, but are the Jedi aware of any other persons of interest? I don't believe Dooku could achieve what he has in such a short period of time, all on his own.
Kenobi looks around to check if anyone is listening.
I trust you, Thrawn. We have fought side by side many times. As you know, at any given time, there can only be two Siths, one master and one apprentice. We recently learned that Dooku was the Sith apprentice, but we only know the master by one name, Sidious. Dooku told me years ago that Darth Sidious was in control of the Galactic Senate of the Republic.
In control? How is this possible?
Many of the Council believed Dooku to be messing with us. Well, we now know that Sidious orchestrated the Clone Wars and played both sides from the beginning. With Dooku gone, we've lost a vital link to understanding the mystery of Darth Sidious.
Thrawn thinks to himself.
It appears on the outside that this war is coming to an end with Dooku's death, or rather, untimely death. But I sense this is only the beginning of a greater plan. Sidious's plan.
Thrawn has learned of the rule of two, and with Dooku's death, Sidious will now be looking for a new apprentice. He mutters to himself.
Could it be?
What was that?
Nothing at all, General. I sense these next few days will be pivotal in the Republic. May I shadow you and Skywalker this time? I believe it would be in the best interest of the Republic.
Sure, Admiral. I trust your judgment.
Thrawn does just this as they meet up with Skywalker. He joins the briefings on the Outer Rim sieges, which he's particularly interested in, as his home is fairly close by. Thinking of his home makes him wonder how they are doing. Have the Gris began their attack? Has war broken out? He doesn't know. All he knows is to keep moving forward. As they leave, Anakin joins late. Thrawn knows he lives away from the temple, obviously with Padme, but there's something about his demeanor that's changed. He looks as if he's just received terrible news. Obi-Wan doesn't notice and tells him Palpatine has requested Anakin's presence. But Obi-Wan starts criticizing the Chancellor, something Thrawn didn't expect. Was he missing something?
Be careful of your friend Palpatine. He's requested your presence. He didn't inform the Council? That's unusual. All of this is unusual, and it's making me feel uneasy. Just ask Thrawn. He feels it.
Anakin looks at Thrawn and can tell he agrees. Skywalker heads off for the Chancellor's office. Thrawn wonders what the Chancellor would want with Anakin. This is a pivotal moment in the war. He doesn't have the time for friendly chit-chat. The answer was revealed hours later, when Anakin and Obi-Wan exit the council chambers after Anakin had just been denied the rank of Master. Anakin talks to Obi-Wan how it's unfair, who replies it's an honor to even get a seat on the council. Thrawn thinks to himself,
Why would the Chancellor appoint Anakin to be his representative on the Jedi Council? Does he not trust the Jedi? I cannot see a reason why he wouldn't. Maybe it was to do Anakin a favor by getting him the rank of Master. They have been friends for years. It seems like a logical conclusion. But no, the Council would never give Anakin the rank of Master at his age. I can't see why he is so surprised. But maybe this was to the point. Did Palpatine want the Council to deny Anakin the rank of Master to increase his frustration with the Jedi Council? The truth is slowly beginning to reveal itself.
Anakin and Obi-Wan continue the discussion, but before Obi-Wan continues, he asks Thrawn to step aside for a moment. But Thrawn insists he stays, as the information Obi-Wan reveals could be crucial to the war. Obi-Wan and Anakin know Thrawn is trustworthy. He's proved it time and time again. He won't reveal this information to anyone. Obi-Wan allows it, as he knows Thrawn is one of the best strategists in the Republic, and this information could be useful to his investigation. He reveals Anakin's mission to spy on the Chancellor. Obi-Wan and Anakin argue about this, but what sticks out to Thrawn the most is when Anakin says,
He's not a bad man. He befriended me and watched out for me ever since I arrived here.
It is surely not a coincidence that Palpatine befriended Anakin, the supposed chosen one and savior of the Force, when he first arrived at the Jedi Temple. Although it may not seem like it on the outside, Palpatine is a very cunning and ambitious man who's made his way to the position of ultimate power in the galaxy and has remained in control for longer than his constitution has allowed. Thrawn comes to a conclusion, but needs more proof before he reveals it. The next day, Thrawn waits outside the council chambers once again. Anakin and Obi-Wan exit, but Anakin storms off first without looking at Thrawn. Kenobi tells him Grievous has been found hiding in the Utapau system and that he's been sent to capture him.
What about Anakin?
He wanted to lead the campaign suggested by the Chancellor, but the Council denied him. He seems to be quite stressed and dealing with a lot on his mind. With any hope, Grievous' death should end the war, and Anakin can take a break.
As Kenobi walks off, Thrawn mutters under his breath,
Oh, I doubt that.
After Kenobi left, Thrawn visits Padme's home, expecting to find Anakin there. Padme opens the door and Thrawn asks if Anakin's inside. Padme stumbles upon her answer as Thrawn pushes the door open and steps inside to see Anakin on the couch.
Skywalker, I've been meaning to speak with you.
Anakin goes to explain what he's doing there.
There is no need, Anakin. I've known about you and Padme's relationship for a while now.
How did you...
That doesn't matter in the least. Senator Amidala, would you give Anakin and I a moment?
They begin their discussion, and Thrawn asks Anakin why he's been so upset. Anakin and Thrawn are good friends. They spent over a year on the battlefield together and trust each other with their lives. Anakin opens up to Thrawn. He already knows about his wife, so telling him any more won't change anything. Thrawn finds out everything, including Anakin's past dreams of his mother and now his new dreams of his wife dying. He fears his wife will die since the dreams of his mother came true. Thrawn wonders if Anakin can really see the future. He explores every possibility in his mind. Maybe he's having a glimpse of one possible future from multiple timelines. This is entirely possible. The Force works in a mysterious way. But what is also possible is someone is planting those dreams there. It is entirely possible. He asks the Jedi what he's planning on doing, who reveals he wanted the rank of Master to search the restricted section of the Jedi archives for the power to save one from death. But that isn't possible now. His only other option is a rare Force power he's learned, and Anakin tells Thrawn about Darth Plagueis the Wise.
How did you learn of such a power?
And the next two words changed everything.
The Chancellor.
All of this only backs up the conclusion Thrawn has already made. Chancellor Palpatine is the key. Thrawn tells Anakin he will help save his wife, and asks him to set up a meeting with the Jedi Council, Palpatine and other important senators in the Chancellor's office. Anakin looks at him confused.
Tell them the fate of the Republic depends on it.
The meeting is set up. The members include Palpatine, Mas Amida, Bail Organa, Ainley Team, Fang Zar, and Jedi, Anakin Skywalker, Mace Windu, Plo Koon, Kit Fisto, Aegon Kola, Saisi Tin, and Coleman Cash.
Thank you all for coming here today, especially given the nature of the war. I was welcomed into the Republic years ago now, and have fought alongside many of you. I joined ignorant to the ways of the galaxy, the Republic, the Separatists, the Jedi, and Sith. I wished for answers of right and wrong, of order and chaos, of strength and weakness, of purpose and reaction. The origins of the Clone War were a mystery to me. I couldn't understand them for a while, until days ago when I started to learn the truth. Darth Sidious, a name I learned a few days ago from General Kenobi, who revealed to me that the name belongs to a Sith Lord, the same Sith Lord behind the Clone Wars from the very beginning, not Count Dooku. Kenobi also told me that years ago, Dooku divulged that a Darth Sidious was in control of the Republic, but the Council seemed to dismiss that as Dooku attempting to deceive them. I know Dooku was telling the truth. I know who Darth Sidious really is.
He glances a quick side eye, so fast that no one would be able to notice except the person he was directing it at, Palpatine. Palpatine cannot move, not in fear, but because it will strengthen what Thrawn is about to reveal.
Darth Sidious is Chancellor Palpatine.
As Thrawn stares upon Palpatine with his infrared eyes, and can see the heat building up in his forehead, a sign of fear. The senators around him begin to argue back, and the Jedi are not convinced.
By the look of your faces, you are unconvinced. Allow me to explain. Dooku has been killed, so due to the rule of two, Sidious must begin looking for a new apprentice, and that apprentice is Anakin Skywalker. Ever since Anakin arrived at the Jedi Temple, Palpatine has been there for him, looking out for him as a father would. Anakin thought this was due to his generosity, but Palpatine began laying the seeds of manipulation. Days ago, Palpatine appointed Anakin to be his representative on the Jedi Council. However, Anakin was denied the rank of Master, an obvious conclusion, and yet Palpatine knew this would happen. He only did so to increase Anakin's disconnect with the Jedi Council. Next was Palpatine's more malicious act. Now, Anakin, I am deeply sorry about this next portion of my story, as it will seem to expose you. But alas, it is for the greater good. Anakin is married to Padme Amidala, and they are expecting their first child. However, it is natural that a Jedi have premonitions of the future. One of those premonitions is of Padme's death. That is why Anakin lost control of his emotions when being denied the rank of Master. After his first attempt to save her had failed, Palpatine gave him another. He told Anakin the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise, a Sith Lord who so happens to save others from dying. Coincidence? I think not. Palpatine then informed the Council that General Grievous had been found on Utapau, and that he wanted Anakin to lead the campaign. However, once again he knew the Council wouldn't grant him this, only increasing his frustration. After this, Palpatine would have revealed himself to Anakin as the Sith Lord, and the only one who could save his wife.
Anakin shifts momentarily, not making eye contact with the other Jedi. Mace stands there with his hand on his chin.
Masters, I can explain.
Windu looks at Anakin, which cuts him off. The look from Windu tells Anakin they'll deal with the situation later. This is more important. Silence encompasses the room. The story sounds convincing, but it needs more, and Thrawn knows this.
Not convinced, Jedi? Dooku told you all years ago. Darth Sidious was in control of the Senate, and you knew that Dooku and the Sith created the clone army to fight for the Republic. For one reason only, to create distrust of the Jedi in the eyes of the Republic. To change their perception from the keepers of the peace to the enemies of it. Who else, other than the Chancellor of the Republic, could allow the use of the clone army and prolong the war long enough for the people of the Republic to turn their backs on the Jedi?
Anakin looks at his friend Palpatine.
What are you saying, Thrawn? You're wrong on this. Tell him, Chancellor.
It's okay, Anakin. Misunderstandings happen. Can you prove any of this, Thrawn?
Palpatine devilishly stares at Thrawn.
I bet there are lightsabers stashed throughout this office. It is okay if we search, right, Chancellor?
Palpatine agrees and eyes up Thrawn. Thrawn commands Palpatine to remain in his seat as they search. Palpatine quickly thinks what to do since his plan has been exposed. It's only a matter of time before they find his sabers, but luckily he has one hidden in his desk if he needs to make a move. His best plan is to kill the senators and stage a coup by the Jedi. Convince the Senate they were attempting to overthrow him. He'll wait until the last moment. The search goes on for another minute, until Saisi Tin begins dismantling one of the sculptures and lays eyes on a silver lightsaber hilt. Sidious sends lightning at the Jedi, who were caught off guard. He slices down Ainli Team and Fang Zar. As he goes to kill Organa, Thrawn equips his blaster and begins firing at the Sith. Sidious blocks his bullet back into Thrawn's gun, disarming him, and begins to choke the life out of the chest, still sending lightning at the Jedi. But before he can finish, the Jedi break past his lightning and rush towards him. Aegon Kolar and Kit Fisto had been knocked unconscious, but the rest rush towards the Sith Lord. Sidious stares at the Jedi Masters, rushing at him. If they engage in direct combat, Sidious will lose. He uses the Force to activate a black smoke that disperses throughout the room and uses this momentary shock to cut the window behind him as he jumps out to make his escape. But Windu saw through this plan. He rushes through the window and catches Palpatine with the Force before he is out of reach. Seconds later, Yoda and the other Masters arrive as they capture the Sith Lord Darth Sidious. Bail Organa speaks in front of the Senate and explains the situation. With Grievous and Dooku's death, as well as Sidious's capture, the Clone War ends over the next few days. Anakin had his history with Padme revealed in front of the Council, but it was all worth it, as she successfully gave birth to the twins, Luke and Leia. Thrawn apologized to Anakin, but says it might actually be for the best. The Council holds a meeting to discuss whether Anakin should be allowed to stay in the Order. However, halfway through the session, Thrawn contacts the Council. He tells them he couldn't have figured out Palpatine's identity without Anakin. He was pivotal in Sidious's capture and completed his role as the Chosen One, and hopes they take this into account with their decision. Thrawn manages to sway the Council, as Obi-Wan also brought up Revan, who was allowed to stay in the Order even though he had a wife. Thrawn received a medal of the highest honor in front of the Senate, and broadcasted around the galaxy. The new Chancellor Organa explains how the people of the Republic are in a huge debt to him, and his actions saved the galaxy from dark times. In a later discussion in Organa's office, with a few of the Jedi Masters including Yoda and Windu, Bail offers Thrawn a seat on his bureaucratic council and says the galaxy will forever be in debt to him, and if there's anything he needs, he shouldn't be afraid to ask. He bows.
I accept, Chancellor Organa. However, I might take you up on your offer.
Thrawn has done it. He's secured a way for the Republic to aid the Chiss Ascendancy in the coming war. All he has to do is ask. He's ensured the Republic remains strong and capable for the benefit of his own people. He discovered the Sith were the reason behind the corruption in the Senate, and now, with them gone, the Republic is a true and honorable institution that can aid the Chiss. He asked for permission to leave to his homeworld to discuss a potential partnership with the Republic and reveals he's from the unknown regions. Thrawn travels back to the Chiss Ascendancy to find it on the brink of war. The Gris have advanced on almost every world surrounding Ascendancy space, and their next move would be into their territory, forcing the Chiss to declare war. He's welcomed back gracefully and joins a meeting with the 9 Aristocrats, the ruling families who are eager to hear Thrawn's deduction of the galaxy. He tells them there is a strong galactic alliance called the Republic that has the strength to aid and win them the upcoming war.
Permission to form an alliance with the Republic and employ their military might?
Permission granted, Captain. I shall come with you myself.
Thanks for watching, everyone. If this video receives 1,000 likes in the next few days, I'll upload part 2 next. Please leave a comment on what you thought of the video. This has been highly requested for a while. If you want to continue to support the channel, consider becoming a member on our YouTube program for only $1 a month, or check out our Patreon page. If you enjoyed this video, you have to check out the others on the channel, and I'll see you all next time.